The Apple iPod is one of the most recognizable pieces of technology of the 2000s. Chances are, if you liked music, you had one. And for the time, they were a technological marvel. Tiny hard drives smaller than a deck of cards and clever use of limited hardware made the iPod complement your daily life just as well as an article of clothing. But now, that's just more convenient. I mean, why have a whole separate device just to listen to music when your phone can do all that and more? Not to mention no Bluetooth connectivity, and having to transfer music, that you definitely paid for, onto it from a computer. Your phone can access any song you want instantly, wirelessly, all just for review ads or a monthly subscription. Yeah, I guess that's still better than having an iPod, but something about it captures my attention like nothing else. Maybe it's just nostalgia for the time period, but I think it gives intentionality that adds an appreciation to the music you listen to. Also, I think it's always better to actually own the media you consume, rather than rely on a company that could take it away from you at any time. And while I love for Spotify, I don't want to pay for Spotify Premium. So instead, I spent like $300 making the almost ultimate iPod Classic.
Okay, so let's get into it. My subject for this mod is going to be this crusty, wrinkly, old iPod video. Look at this thing. This looks like heat damage to me. It looks like the plastic in the front wrinkled, so I'm thinking someone left this in their pocket and put it through a washer and dryer. Surprisingly enough, this thing, it didn't turn on at first, but after some charging, it turns out that the hard drive is actually completely fine. And the battery kind of sucks, but otherwise this thing is it just works. And there's like 5,000 songs on here, so that's pretty cool. It's like about a whole chapter of someone's life on eBay for like 25 bucks, but you know, it's cool that this device I was loved so much before is going to get another shot instead of, you know, heading to a landfill. Anyway, I bought this iPod specifically because it's an iPod video revision known in the modding community as an iPod 5.5. This is widely regarded as the best iPod to get because it's the easiest to open up, and it's the last iPod that uses Wolfson DACs, which, if you don't know what that means, you probably don't need to worry about it. It does make a difference, but it's not like the newer ones sound bad, and personally I can't tell that much of a difference, but you know, might as well have the better one, right? The one downside to this one is this is a 30 gigabyte model, as you can see right there. That means it has less RAM than the 80 gigabyte models, so it can only store 20 to 30,000 songs, no matter how much storage it has. I will probably be fine with that. I'll just put Family Guy on the rest of it, I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this one open. There we go. So, first thing I'm going to do is replace this hard drive with flash storage. I have this micro SD card adapter. Let me grab it here. Alright, I have this micro SD card adapter, and I have a micro SD card here with 256 gigs of storage. I was going to put one of the nice SanDisk cards in there, but apparently these don't play nice with the SanDisk cards, which kind of sucks. So I just have this generic Amazon branded one, which I really hope works. I don't know if it will, but you know, we'll find out, I guess. Anyway, let me get this hard drive out first. I will be keeping this hard drive so I can try and get the music off of it. You know, 5,000 songs, that's pretty cool, and there's like some cool playlists on here as well, so I'll be saving that for later. And here, these have kind of a weird mechanism where you slide it back and pop the SD card in there like that. There you go. you slide it back to lock it in place. And then it's going to go to the iPod. Flip this up. It's going to connect back to that ribbon connector just like that. Okay, so now that that's in there, I'm going to go ahead and plug this into a computer just to make sure this thing actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and yeah, there we go. Yeah. Alright, so I've got iTunes set up on my laptop, so I'm going to plug this straight into there. Look at that, do not disconnect. Let's see if anything shows up. Nothing is showing up. That is a little concerning. It's showing up in file system. No. It says do not disconnect, so I'm just going to give it a second.
Little did I know, this is where this project would start to turn into a nightmare. You see, this project more or less revolves around a product called the Classic Connect from Moonlit Market. It's a custom circuit board and back cover that adds Bluetooth and a USB-C charging port just by swapping the backplate. It also makes it easier to add a slew of other cool mods to the iPod, or at least that's what I thought, but more on that later. The Classic Connect kit also comes with the SD card adapter board that you saw me just install, which has a few problems of its own.
Okay, so it's been a week. Found out this thing has some problems, but I did get it working. SanDisk card was not the problem. Amazon branded the card was not the problem. Formatting was not the problem. Turns out that these boards that come with the Moonlit Market bundle, they have a slightly different connector right here. And with the default cable that comes in the iPod, it does not make good contact with this connector. So I reached out to Moonlit Market and they said that they would send me another cable, but I've not received that yet. So I was able to fix it by simply, if I can get this open here. I was able to fix it by putting a little piece of paper wrapped in Kapton tape so it doesn't catch on fire or something into the connector first, and then inserting the ribbon cable into it on top of that so that it's able to make a good connection. So last time when I inserted it, it said the gave the sad iPod screen with the Apple support. That's not what we want to see. It was basically just not detecting this thing at all. It thought it had just no storage. So in disk mode, you shouldn't need to do that. It's supposed to give you a restore screen. And so after I did this, it gave me that. So if I plug this back in here, I put in the paper without the Kapton tape at first just to test it, and that was actually thick enough to get it to make contact. Wrapping the Kapton tape made it a little too thick, so you might want to use like just Kapton tape, but I found it a lot easier to cut out the right shape by using paper. So with this, it makes it a little difficult to plug it, and I feel like I'm going to break something, but you know, it works. So. Check it out. We go to settings and about, you'll see it says 238 gigabytes, which isn't 256, but I'm not complaining. I'm still not going to fill it all up, so, you know. So what I am going to do is replace the battery in there, which is about 600-ish milliamp hours, with this 2000 milliamp hour battery, since we've freed up so much space in there with that SD card adapter. You can get bigger ones. You can get them up to around 3000 milliamp hours. The manufacturer might be lying a little bit about that, but it would still be bigger than this. But this will still more than double the battery life. And combined with the power gains from using flash storage, this thing should last days on a single charge, maybe up to a week.
Unfortunately, this is once again where this project took a frustrating turn. The battery worked fine, and at first, so did the Classic Connect. The Bluetooth and USB-C charging components worked great just by plugging it in. But this was supposed to be the ultimate iPod, and I wanted to have the functionality to earn that title. So I wanted to add data transfer over USB-C as well. That would be harder than I thought. Yeah, so I broke it. If you look closely over here, you can see, first of all, that I soldered little tiny wires horizontally across there, which is not on purpose, but I'm too lazy to get rid of it now. But basically, if you look right at the tip of my fingernail right there, it's missing a little pin, which I tore off on accident while trying to solder these itty-bitty tiny wires. So this might be fixable. I tried soldering a wire from the contact on the board down here to the little pad that's ripped off. You can barely see right there, right on top of my fingernail. But it did not work. So unfortunately, I think this iPod logic board is down for the count. I don't think I'm going to be able to salvage this. But that's okay, because I bought another one. I'm hoping not to turn my workbench here into an iPod graveyard, so I'm going to be a little more careful with this one. But yeah, since I still have a working screen and everything else from the other iPod, this one is actually a little bit more. I think the hard drive does still work, but this battery is super inflated, so much so that it actually broke the screen. So yeah, that's cool. So replacing this battery and making sure it actually works is the first thing I'm going to do. So let's get to that. Okay, you can see that it's kind of working. It's reading the SD card adapter, and I was able to get it restored. I haven't put any music on here, but I did test file transfer, and all of it's working just fine. Check it out. Working screen. Let's let it boot all the way up, just to make sure we can get in here and everything. There we go. Nice. All right. Now it's time to go ahead and solder. Ugh. No. Oh, God. God damn it. Just turned off. Oh, my goodness. This is not inspiring confidence. I'm not gonna lie. After a wasted iPod and about a month of trying and failing to solder these two tiny wires to the correct pads on the iPod motherboard, I gave up on USB-C data transfer. I still don't know for sure what the issue was. It's most likely that my soldering skills simply weren't up to the task, and these 2 points were just too small for me to solder to without accidentally bridging 2 pins together. However, many multimeter tests do make me question that assumption. I still never found any issues, with the 2 connections. According to Moonlit Market, this should be possible, but after extensive research, I could find no real-world record or guide of it being done, and certainly no photos or videos. I probably won't know for sure until someone proves me wrong. Despite this failure, I decided to push forward with the next mod, MagSafe and wireless charging. This is actually pretty simple to add. Soldering a few wires and sticking some magnets to the inside of the Classic Connect backplate is all it took. Unfortunately, this thing hates fun, and despite the support for wireless charging on the Classic Connect board, the backplate is actually too thin for it to fit inside of there. At this point, I was pretty frustrated with how everything I tried to put in this thing seemed to not work. I decided to push forward to get one last upgrade into it, that being an iPhone haptic engine, to add haptics to this iPod. It barely fit inside, but I was able to get it into the Classic Connect's extremely thin backplate. Here, it is vibrating in accordance to the click wheel scrolling. All in all, this project ended up being really frustrating, and I can attribute most of those issues to the Classic Connect. Even if adding USB-C data transfer is possible, the lack of any detailed instruction or at least examples on how to do so is incredibly frustrating, especially since the functionality is advertised on their website. Their provided soldering guide also clearly shows support for wireless charging and haptics, but the actual design of the backplate does not allow for wireless charging, and installing haptics is, at best, not intuitive. Even if these features were not meant to be strictly supported, there's no clear information on their website that states modifications to the backplate would have to be made in order to add them. All of this, combined with the hefty price tag of nearly $200 makes me wish that I had added Bluetooth and USB-C through other methods, and makes this product hard to recommend to people who want to push iPod modding to its limits. However, to give credit where it's due, the Classic Connect is really good at what it's advertised for: Bluetooth and USB-C charging. Without adding anything else, this thing truly is a plug-and-play experience, and makes the iPod fit much better into a modern tech ecosystem. If you have the money to spend, and a lack of soldering skills, I can recommend this, as it makes two typically quite difficult mods much easier. But that still leaves my less than ultimate iPod. At the very least, there's one more thing I can do to make it better. I am disappointed that I couldn't add everything I wanted to this iPod, but after having used it for a while, as you can tell by how scratched it is, I am still very happy with the result. I'm able to use it with my Bluetooth earbuds, charge it with any of these instead of just this, and its battery lasts forever. I took it with me on a summer trip to Germany, and I only charged it once over almost 3 weeks. It's not perfect for sure, but it's very usable in my daily life. If you have an iPod, or you want to get one, I can definitely recommend modding it. There's a huge community around iPod modding, and there's an option for pretty much anything you might want to do to it. It can get pricey, but the end result is something that I think is just fun to carry around and use, so to me, it was worth it, even if it was immeasurably frustrating to get here. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I hope this has given you any kind of inspiration to do something like this yourself. I don't know if I'll keep making YouTube videos, but if I do, then I'll see you in the next one.